How's it going, algebra, geometry students? Sorry about that. Okay, we're gonna go get started with chapter 8 here. Again, I have a feeling this is gonna be one of those chapters that's gonna have a lot of questions from you, and so we're gonna definitely take advantage of you taking notes at home and then coming in and basically spending the period answering questions and doing more examples in class because that's how this chapter is, okay? And this is the most tested chapter in your state test, so a lot of it a lot of the questions are related to trigonometry stuff. And later on, you'll see kind of what that means. But basically, eventually you're going to hear the word sine, cosine, tangent. That's going to be really big in this chapter. But for right now, we're going to deal with similarity, which is what this is right here, the first one that we're going to do. And we're going to go get started. Again, pause, take notes as you go, so that you don't feel rushed, okay? So 8.1 is similarity in right triangles. How can a triangle be made up of similar triangles? Now, as you're writing this, you know that in class I kind of started by having you cut out a scalene triangle. And in that scalene triangle, remember, let me just start drawing something here for you while you're writing. The scalene triangle, remember, we drew something like this, and we ended up cutting this thing with something called the what? Do you remember? Starts with the letter A. And that ended up creating, hopefully you remember, it's the altitude, right? What that ended up creating were three triangles that were very similar. That's what this lesson's about, similarity, okay? So in a right triangle, and I'm missing the word triangle here, in a right triangle, I put the triangle symbol, the altitude to the hypotenuse creates a total of three triangles, triangle symbol there, that are similar to each other. Now, basically what this means is basically what I just told you right now. In class today, and hopefully you have those triangles out handy because that'll actually help you out with this lesson. In class today, we drew a triangle, and with this triangle, then I had to draw the altitude. Remember the altitude was from the hypotenuse, this longest side? We drew the altitude by drawing the line that was straight. Now mine's not that straight because I'm actually freehanding this, but yours is perfectly up and down perpendicular here, and that's 90 degrees. And the second you drew this, you created three triangles that were similar, right? Now right below this, let's go ahead and write these three triangles, what they are. Now I'm going to go ahead and label this first just so you have an idea. Let's do A, let's do B, let's do C, and you know what? This line right here that we created, let's do D. Okay, now the three triangles that are similar to each other here, well, let's go ahead and draw those and see what they are. Let's start by doing the first big one right here. Let me just recopy the big one. The big one is kind of, I'm going to freehand this so you can do it too. Okay, so this one that I should have done it together, I didn't. Okay, there's the first one. This one right here is your ABC. Okay. What about the other one that's similar? The medium one, I should say. Let's do the medium one right now. It's going to be basically this one, and this one right here. This is the medium one. Now, to make this one look like the one I have over here, well, if I do that, I'm not sure if that's going to really help much. It kind of looks like it, right? It looks like it needs to be flipped, huh? So, I'm wondering if we flip it though, but hold on. Before I even flip it, I want to make sure that I have the letters correct on this thing. What are the letters? I should have D, C, and A. Let me write those letters down actually. D, C, and A. So they're my letters. And let me just group this just so that it's together. I know the letters are going to get moved around, but now in order to make this look like the other one that I have here, it looks like I need to put it this way maybe? What else? I think I gotta flip it, right? Let's flip it to the left. Let's hit that left. Does that kind of work? Yep, there it is. Okay, so look where my letters are at. I have A over here, D, I have A, D, and C. Okay, and then the last one, the little one. The little one is going to be this one right here. That one, that one, that one. And this one, before I move this one, let me label it again. And that one's actually already labeled, but let me move it out of the way. Let me move it over here. And let's label this thing. This was D, B, and C. So really, here you have three similar triangles. I just drew them separately. Let me group these so you have them grouped. So this one, again, doesn't really look like any of these until I flip it. I unfortunately have to flip this one too. So maybe as you're drawing these, you're drawing them in the right fashion and then putting the right letters in the right spot, right? So there's my three triangles that are all similar to each other. Except you see, notice any thing with the letters, though, how they're set up. That's going to be the tricky part. The tricky part is figuring out, okay, well, this side is represented, what side on the big one? Well, that's the hard part, unfortunately. So this little triangle, for example, this little triangle right here that we have is this one right here. Now, let's just say, let's practice this. What side would BD be similar over here on the big one? Well, BD is similar to BC on the big one. Now let's practice one more here real quick. Let's see. Let's try. Let me move these out of the way. What side, let's see, let's do this medium one. What side would AC be similar on the big one? You get the idea? On the big one, it would be BA. Okay, so you got to train your eye, unfortunately, to kind of think about this in a rotated, flipped way, which is what I have here. Obviously, when I rotate and flip it and I draw it this way with three triangles like this, then it's a lot easier to see which ones match up with which ones here. Otherwise, it gets kind of tricky, okay? Okay, so we're going to do identify the similar right triangles. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a triangle. Let's do L, J, K, and guess where your M is going to be? I'm going to draw another altitude here. Right there. This will be M. Okay, so do me a favor. Let's see. Let's do the big one, medium, and small. I'm just going to write myself a little note here. This is the large one, the medium one, and the small one. 1, 2, 3. What's the big one? The order of the big one. So I'm going to say, and we got to do this in order. Triangle LJK, LJK, triangle LJK, similar to triangle, what's the medium one? Here's where it's tricky, right? So remember, this one to this one to this one, that's the big triangle. Now we got to do the medium one. Okay, well, let's see. This medium one looks like it's obviously it's upside down and it's flipped. So for the medium one, look at the medium one right here. Let me highlight it for you. Here's the medium one. On the medium one, what side is the hypotenuse? Looks like it's this right here, the L and the J. This LJ is a hypotenuse. And on the big one, the hypotenuse is LK. So I know these two have to match up already. Okay, and then what else do I know? This side right here of the green one, looks like it matches up with the KJ over here of this one. Okay, so that's the tricky part, guys, unfortunately, okay? So let's go ahead and start. My big one, I started LJK up. So it looks like to do the medium one, I'm going to start here with L, go to the M, and then go to the J. L, M, J. L, M, J. Now the last one, it's also similar to the little one. How do I pair up the little one? Well, let me draw a little right triangle right here so you can see. See how this is a hypotenuse? This is the biggest piece here of the triangle. Okay, and so just like I did with the big one, On the big one, let me get rid of all these things so you can see this a little bit better. Okay, on the big one, look what we did. Here's how we named it. We went L, J, K. So I went from the leg over here to the 90 degrees up to the top. Now look at the little small one. Looks like I'm going to go from the J to the 90 degrees to the top. J, M, K. J, M, K. And that's it. That's all I want you to do. Basically, we're setting these up in the right order. L, J, K, L, M, J, and J, M, K. This is hard, guys. Believe me, it's especially if you're not good at seeing stuff in your head and picturing stuff. All right, we're going to get into something called geometric mean. Geometric mean, it says, it's used with two positive numbers. It's the positive square root of their product. So, for example, it's basically here's what it's saying. It's saying take one number plus another number, do the square root of it, and that's it. So, for example, what's the geometric mean of 4 and 25? Okay, so to do the geometric mean, basically all you're doing is saying, oh, I got to do 4 times 25 is 100, and then you do the square root, and your answer should be 10. That's the geometric mean. Okay, so basically, here's how the book has it. The book basically is showing you x squared, and you're going to see why they're using x squared in a bit. Okay, right now we're going to let me just write this down like so, and then when you do the square root here, x equals 10. So the geometric mean is a 10. Okay. Where was I going with this? I have no idea. Let me do one more real quick for you. Oh, I was going to say, a lot of you are thinking, oh, Ms. Pro, the mean is kind of like, you know, when you add up all your the test scores and you divide by how many students took it. Well, you're right. That's kind of what the mean is. But geometric mean is totally different. Basically, geometric mean, you're just taking these two numbers, multiplying them, getting square root, and getting that answer. And you're not always going to get a nice perfect answer like this. You're sometimes going to get decimals. So for example, let's do the geometric mean of 5 and 30. Well, what are you going to get there? 5 times 30, that's going to be 150. And you get, so that's x squared equals 150. Now I got to do square root. And again, I'm going to talk about why I'm getting this x squared right here later on, okay? So right now, just imagine, let's just say this is x equals this and x equals this, but when I combine everything together, it's x squared equals this together. Okay, I'll talk a little bit more about this in class. So I'm going to have x equals, okay, well I can't get this answer, so why don't I break this up into numbers that I can use. How about by 25? 150 goes, 25 goes into that, how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 times 25, square root of 25 is 5, put the 5 outside, and 6 inside, and there's your answer. Okay, sometimes you're going to get answers like this. Actually, you're mostly going to get answers like this. Okay, so that's the geometric mean. Now, I'm going to show you why you're going to need the geometric mean. Okay, why don't you actually try these two right here just for practice. Pause it, and then do the geometric mean for me for this. Find out what x equals what. And over here, 6 times 5, do this geometric mean and tell me what x equals here, okay? Go ahead and take care of that. Then I'm just going to write the answers in here. So do that, pause the video, and then play it. Okay, answers here. X equals, hope you saw this part right away, right? Square root, square root. X equals 9. And over here, what's this? What's 6 times 5? What's the mean of that? Can I break that up? 3 times 10 by 4. No, that doesn't work. Wait, maybe I'm drawing a blank. I honestly, I'm trying to think, can I break up 30 at all? 12, no, that doesn't work. 4, no, that doesn't work. Okay, unless I'm drawing completely a blank, and I think I am, but watch, someone's going to come back tomorrow and tell me that I did this wrong. There's a mean for that, okay? Okay, we can use the idea behind geometric mean to find missing sides within similar triangles. So go ahead and write this down. So I'm going to show you when you're going to use this geometric mean. This whole idea of, oh, I got to multiply this number times this number and then do the square root of it and get the answer. Right, and now you're going to use that when we do this triangle over here. And you want to watch right now. So write this down, pause the video if you need to. Let's go to example 3. And then pause example 3, write down the problem, and then watch how it's done, okay? Okay, find out what x, y, and z is. Okay, this is really tricky right now. Look at this triangle. Now, you know there's 3 triangles here that are all similar, right? Okay, so here's the best approach to do this. Why don't we draw the 3 triangles again, and let's try and do it that way instead. And then I can start showing you shortcuts in class if you want. Right now, let's do it the long way. So the big triangle is this big one right here. Y, Z, and wait, what's 2 plus 10? 2 plus 10, this whole side right here is 12. So Y, Z, and 12. Okay, let me draw the big one right here. Hold on. Oh, this is horrible. Let me redraw it again. This is the big one. The big one is, remember, it was Y, Z, and 12. Let me write those in. Y, Z, and 12. Okay, let's do the medium one. The medium one is this one right here. Okay, to match up this bottom side of this one, look at this. To match up this Y part right here, the big one, this is the Y part of the big one. Well, on the medium one, that part is this 10 right here. So I'm going to put a 10. Now look at this one. On the big one, the side right here where the Z's at, this one right here, well, what side is that on this one? Oh, well, it's going to be this X part right here. And what part do you know about, let's see, the long piece right here on this medium one? Well, which one does that one match up with this 12th one? Well, on the medium one, this green one, here's that piece right here, the Y. Okay, and I got one more to draw. I got to draw the smaller one, right? Okay, let me move these over for a bit. Let me move these over right, maybe, actually, let me move these right there, and then I'll move this box. Okay, so the medium one, I'm sorry, the small one, the little one right up here, look what it is, right there, right there, right there. Okay, so what side matches right here with this bottom piece of all these other ones? So far, so it looks like this one right here, the bottom piece, is actually this bottom piece right over here that I'm kind of making it a little bit darker. And that side is the X. And then what about this little piece up here, the one that was the 90 degrees right here? This piece right here where the 2 is at? Which side does that match up to over the other ones? And I hope you're saying that, oh, it matches up with the X and the Z on the other one. So that's a 2. And what about this hypotenuse here for this little one, the Z? Well, it's going to have to go there. Okay. So here's how you set these up. They're all set up, ready to go. You have 3 similar triangles. Now, let's start by finding out one of the variables first. This is find one of the variables using a proportion. Okay, so you're going to see what that looks like right now. So I need to find out what x is. So, okay, so where's the x? Here's the x, and I have one number right here. Okay, that works. Now, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to pair this up with this one and this one. The reason I'm doing that is because guess what? There's an x right here, there's an x right here, and there's a number here, and there's a number here. Now, that works really perfectly because these two x's are going to go together eventually, and then these two numbers go together when I write my proportion. Watch how I write it. X over 10 equals 2 over x. What are you going to do now? Guess what happens here when you do cross products? You get x squared equals 10 times 2. This is exactly what you just learned right above the geometric mean. Square root, with the square root of 20, we'll do 4 times 5. What's 4 times 5? 4 times 5, that's going to be square root of 4 is 2. Bring the 2 outside. Square root of 5 inside equals x. There you go. Got one done. Okay, let's try another one. We found out what x is. Let's do what y is. All right, y. Let's see. Y is right here. I got one right there. Let's see. I need to pair up so I get something like this again. I need so like I get the x's like this across from each other. Okay, so I got a y here. I don't know. What else should I use? Maybe this one right here. So this one and this one. I don't know. That one and that one. Okay. And then I could use, what else could I use here? How about, I hope you're seeing it. I hope you see where I'm going to go with this. Let me get this out of the way though. I'm getting confused. Okay, here's what we're going to use now. I'm going to use 12 and y equals y and 10. There's your proportion right there, okay? 12 over y equals y over 10. There's your proportion. 120 equals y squared. Solve that. Square root, y equals square root of 120. What's that? Break that up by what? 4? 4 and 30. 4 times 30. Square root of 4 is 2. Rad 30. Okay. What's the last one here that we can do? The last one, I need the z. Okay, let's see, z. I need z. Oh, I know. I got a 2 here and a z here. Maybe I can use these two. Z to 2. Oh, look over here. 12 and z. I can use those two. That'll give me a nice perfect cross product right there. Okay, so let's use those. I'm going to use 12 and z. That's a z. Equals z and 2. 2 times 12, 24. Equals z squared. Square root. What's this going to be? I could use 4 times 6. Square root of 4 is 2. So my answer is z equals 2 rad 6. Okay, there are your 3 answers right there. And that is going to be it, guys. So we'll do more of this in class. I have a feeling you're going to come to me confused. So we're going to have to practice this. If you want, use your triangle that you cut out in class. And in pencil, write in the numbers that they give you here, so that when you flip them and move them around, you know where to put all the variables like this, if that helps you, okay? That might help some of you. Well, it might not help others, but try it. At least you'll have all these notes written down. We'll do some work on whiteboards probably, or do some cutouts as well too in class, okay, to help you guys out with this. The most important thing here about this lesson, obviously you're using geometric mean, and then also knowing how to set up all these ratios like this. That's the 2 most important things for today. All right, and we'll talk about more of this in class.